Welcome back to the Culling Game Reversed. Today we'll be completely swapping the duo of Maki Zenin and Noritoshi Kamo with our two golden boys, Yuji Itadori and Megumi Fushiguro, pitting them up against the major threat of Sakurajima Colony, Naoya Zenin in his disgusting Vengeful Spirit form. Not even Maki in her half-awakened state could survive the danger Curse Naoya was able to bring to the table, with his ascended form leading to blinding speed and indomitable attack power. But with Chimera Shadow Garden and Left Right Good Night, could this be just another exorcism for the Jujutsu High students? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and see if Naoya in his cursed form can obtain the Zenin Clan Head title he wanted so badly in his first life. If this sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, and most importantly, thank you for watching. On the brink of entering Tokyo Colony, and just before the two Jujutsu High students are separated by the barrier's teleportation clause, Naoya Zenin rises from the ashes of his premature death as a vengeful spirit, fueled by nothing but gross regret and disgusting desires of becoming the clan head and eliminating the girl that embarrassed him in his final moments. In this version of the timeline, not only does Curse Naoya awaken much sooner than before, he finds Megumi and Yuji first. Of course, Naoya begins the brief encounter in his first stage as a cursed womb, and in this sickly transformation, Naoya resembles a large, girthy worm that accurately depicts the Zenin heir as a sprawling insect. However, despite his massive size, Curse Naoya, even in his early stages, is able to blink past Kamo Noritoshi's senses, using speed that is said to be faster than sound. Like a jet plane, as Naoya closes in on his opponent with pure precision, the world around him crashes and shatters from the intense air current and energy generated from the vengeful spirit, just tearing through the air at such a rate. And although Maki Zenin, after fully awakening, is able to react and properly time counterattacks against this beast, it's primarily thanks to her extrasensory and precognition gifted to her by the heavenly restriction. And while that is also a much faster form of Curse Naoya, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. While moving at this intense speed, first stage Naoya slams his body into Maki with such force as to leave a crater in the mountain they crash into. Although the level of power is not too impressive, a character with durability like Maki would be one of the only people to walk away after that kind of attack with little to no damage. Again, even with Maki's enhanced reflexes, she's barely able to keep up with Curse Naoya's combos, using every inch of his body, including his fist, to dish out multiple strikes with considerable attack strength thanks to the overwhelming speed behind them. The durability of first stage Curse Womb Naoya is enough at least to survive an attack that splits him in half from the soul cutting blade, and also a direct hit from a piercing blood from Kamo, which the latter assumes should have been enough to exorcise it. So I guess to start finding out the result of this fight, we would have to wholeheartedly consider what Itadori and Megumi are even able to do against a monster coming at them with this level of perception blitzing. Against the three-finger Sukuna, whose speed was clocked at damn near Toji Fushiguro levels, a character that is also able to easily overwhelm Megumi in speed multiple times over during the Shibuya incident, not only does Megumi stand at a disadvantage against Curse Naoya, a speedster and quote-unquote unbreakable doll like Itadori Yuji is also gonna find it hard to keep up. Based on the short battle between Yuji, Maki, and Sukuna, it's fair to say that while Itadori does have impressive speed feats, he's never been known to move at such a pace he completely outright catches people off guard. Yuji doesn't speed blitz Choso or Mahito in Shibuya, nor does he against Higuruma when forced to purely rely on his physical stats. And getting back to the duo match with Maki, she openly admits to holding her own speed back to better cooperate with Yuji, finally opting to kick things up when they realize they're not putting enough pressure on the 15-finger Sukuna. If Maki is faster than Yuji, and Toji and Maki are of equal stats, whether you want to argue about their experience levels or not, speed-wise, Itadori is without a doubt slower than what Curse Naoya will be at, considering Maki's just quicker than Naoya's final speed. And because the two students will be struggling to even keep up with some of the attacks they're being hit with, even in a 2-on-1 scenario shown in the original Sakurajima Colony, it's almost like Naoya can go back and forth between opponents like it's nothing thanks to his acceleration. Meaning, Despite Megumi and his 10 Shadows technique offering plenty of different offensive strategies, especially with a partner like Yuji, every single Shadow's viability is put into question because Naoya can just speed blitz and pierce them instantly. One by one, as Megumi summons his Shikigami, they would be vaporized by one quick burst of acceleration from Curse Womb Naoya, as unfortunately, not a lot of them are gonna be as durable as awakened Maki. Fushiguro also is unable to partially summon his Shikigami like Sukuna to eliminate that destruction weakness, meaning every time he tries to use the 10 Shadows, he's taking a major risk of losing one of them. That means Divine Dog Totality won't have any chance to land a deep slash, Max Elephant can't crush it or shoot a water stream without imploding, Rapid Escape can be blitzed through from multiple different directions and angles in such a short span of time, it doesn't really offer many escape options, and even something like Piercing Ox that can hacks and run for long enough to do some serious damage won't be able to accomplish much before Naoya takes it out. Now, Madoka Deer, with its ability to emit an area of effect field of reverse curse technique, would offer Megumi the option to output positive energy and exercise Naoya that way, but it would have to be timed properly to catch Naoya in a speed burst, otherwise it's just a keep away shield for Naoya until he uses a different strategy or evolves further. But let's still stay on first form Naoya for now. Not even Chimera Shadow Garden, Megumi's domain expansion, is a very viable option to stop Curse Naoya with. Because Megumi lacks the ability to create an actual barrier and trap his opponent, there's no way they're going to be able to contain a speedster like Naoya. And considering the way he uses his acceleration, just ripping around the entire city in Sakurajima to build up speed, Naoya's not very likely to stay in one location. They can't even try and trap Naoya in some kind of structure or building because he can just openly destroy anything with his speed and attack stats. As durable and strong as Yuji is, even if he's able to land a strike on the Vengeful Spirit, it's unknown what it actually takes to exercise Naoya. Considering the two heavy attacks he suffers from Maki and Kamo in Curse Womb stage, he survives. And with Soul Splitting Blade being a sword that ignores durability, it's unknown how deep his defense stat actually goes in first stage. His second stage was known to include a Binding Vow where he was more vulnerable when he was still, to keep his body extra hardened when speeding up. However, it's unsure if this vow takes place after or before Naoya hatches from his Curse Womb, but considering just how devastated the two of them would be just against stage 1 Naoya, I doubt that would even matter much. Because let's say somehow, again, not entirely sure how these characters with the arsenals they have would accomplish this, but let's say they do beat Curse Naoya. After he hatches into his second stage, there is absolutely no room for debate. When Naoya reaches his second form, the Death Cocoon, or as I like to call it, the Misogyny Missile, not only does his speed drastically amplify, his range of attacks increase as well, regaining the ability to use the Curse Technique Projection Sorcery. Naoya is able to extend his cursed energy into the air itself and force them to abide by 24 frames. When the air inevitably freezes, he breaks it and causes an implosion of force that can cause damaging explosions to an individual, not only making Naoya a mid to long range combat threat. With his speed growing exponentially, he becomes too much for an even half-awakened Maki to withstand. Kamo Noritoshi himself is barely able to survive and save his own life by applying a shield of blood to his head just before a quick punch from Naoya decapitates him, and that wasn't with any speed built up at all. However, like in his Curse Womb, the real threat stems from Curse Naoya's acceleration. Now having an inlet built into his back to remove resistance and allowing the curse to more accurately adapt to the speed, he can reach volumes of up to Mach 3. And when the power behind a fully charged wind-up like that is enough to incapacitate a steel wall like Maki with all her heavenly restriction durability, I think the case is pretty shut and closed. Again, even if Yuji and Megumi are able to somehow not only survive Curse Womb form and take advantage of Naoya's weaker exterior while he doesn't move with a point-blank Itadori Black Flash or something, not only was second stage Naoya able to survive a full power slash from the Soul Splitter and multiple punches from fully awakened Maki, this still isn't even the Vengeful Spirit's final form, which comes equipped with a domain expansion, Time Cell Moon Palace, which can enforce the 24 frames per second clause of projection sorcery on characters at the cellular level, which is just an instant win against Yuji, frankly. And if Megumi tug of wars, he definitely still can't hang in an actual physical fight with Curse Naoya. And we all know how that ends up. With Curse Naoya's speed, I frankly think it's obvious he disposed of Megumi before the man even made the correct hand signs and got the sentence out. But just to cover every possible outcome for this fight, if Divine General Mahoraga was to be summoned and went up against Vengeful Spirit Naoya, that would indeed be a much closer matchup at least, because even Curse Naoya has multiple different options at his disposal to eliminate Mahoraga, which multiple different options is exactly what you need. I don't think his second stage projection sorcery or his attack power combined with Mach 3 speed is enough to actually delete Mahoraga from existence, especially if Maki, when hit with pretty much the full force of Curse Naoya's Mach 3 ram, was still breathing after the fact. Mahoraga will definitely adapt to Naoya's speed and concoct a way to respond with devastating attacks that are much more stronger than Naoya can endure, and although domain expansion is going to be the best way to detach Mahoraga, the result of that interaction comes down to if Naoya plays with his food or not. If he chooses to leave Mahoraga a mess of flesh and cells from the very beginning, instead of slowly letting him unravel from his own motions like he does Daido and Mayo, Naoya could come out on top, because no matter what argument you make in regards to Mahoraga or Curse Naoya's stats, one cannot deny Time Cell Moon Palace is a truly exceptional and hard to beat sure hit domain. Much like Mahito's self-embodiment of perfection, unless you have anti-domain measures, the moment you get caught in this domain, you've lost. Again, I'm willing to be swayed on this result, so leave a comment down below if you think Naoya would play the game correctly, or if Mahoraga would just adapt and conquer. But either way, guys, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and if you enjoyed the Culling Game Reverse series, go check out the plenty of other videos in it if you haven't seen them. Make sure you subscribe, check out an end screen video to continue your binge, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.